New Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museum will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back. MisFitNation. The MisFitNation show. We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFitNation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFitNation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFitNation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFitNation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome to our Thursday after dinner show. Those of you who weren't with us on Tuesday, we're still kind of out of it after losing one of our misfits, Sergeant Donald Hole. So keep him, his family, and the whole Misfit Nation in your thoughts and prayers. Later tonight, there'll be a link on all of our pages for a GoFundMe for his family as they go through this time of need. In our end of watch for our police officers, we have a Detective Fernando Escueda from the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Texas. His end of watch was July 10th, 2024. Keep him, his family, his friends, his co-workers in your thoughts and prayers as you go forward today, tomorrow, into the rest of this month. Our next guest is an international speaker and consultant with a specialized focus on human behavior. With a global reach, she delivers the message that regardless of one's background, occupation, or origin, every individual encounters personal and professional challenges stemming from their own perceived flaws. She emphasizes that the key to living a fulfilling life lies in how you utilize and transform these stories. So without further ado, let's welcome Carly Pepin to the Misfit Nation show. Welcome, Carly.
Thank you so much for having me, Rich.
It's great to have you here and to connect. We were laughing a little bit in the green room before this over technological blunders and stuff with the mighty StreamYard. So hopefully we can fix that moving forward and keep you happy like we were laughing in the green room.
Absolutely.
Carly, I just gave one paragraph about you right there. If you don't mind, tell the Misfit Nation a little bit more about you from as far back as you want to go to how we got here.
Yeah. So, I mean, such a long story, such a long life. I'm 41.
Should I sit
It's been a
down?
while. We'll summarize it. So basically, and I think this is kind of inspiring for us to remember, is that like every individual on this planet has a unique set of experiences and things that they've gone through, they learned, that has created who they are today, right? And oftentimes we can be frustrated by those challenges, but when we see the true gifts they give us, we become grateful for even the things that we've gone through that have been hard. In saying that, like I've had some really amazing opportunities, is the only way I can put it, is to go through some of the more challenging circumstances in life that have helped me to become who I am today. And some, even when I was a child, just going through traumatic experiences. I had a sexual experience with my best friend's dad at the time, and that really allowed me to be lost for a little bit, to misunderstand life to such a degree that I was able to start asking different questions, tons of questions, why things are the way they are. And I kept seeking and searching and seeking and searching until I could finally find answers. What I love about this is, I've traveled around the world and I've even lived in other countries to be able to learn what I know today. But it's really cool to be able to understand human behavior to the degree that we have the capacity present day, and to be able to implement it now in different ways. We've really come far as a nation, as a society, where we can do things so differently, more effectively, more efficiently. And now we can have these tools that we can apply to help us get from, point A to point B, whether that be internal challenges, external challenges, and really actually understand why it's going on. So we not only know how to overcome it, but we get some greater insights on where we would love to go. Because at the end of the day, I think we all would love to feel fulfilled every day when we wake up. We want to feel alive, energized, inspired.
Definitely 100%. And I think you hit the nail on the head. No two of us have the same journey. No two of us have been through the same roller coaster of life. We all have different hurdles we go over every day. Some people, that hurdle is just getting up in the morning. And some others, it could be that drive to work where they hate everyone that's in the lanes around them, but they somehow make it through it. And you never know what that person next to you is going through because you're not in their shoes. You're not with them in their body. You don't know what's going on. So understanding that, it really helped me as a leader in the military, especially. For a long time, I was everyone was the same. You got treated the same no matter what you did. You got treated the same until I had that come to Jesus moment and learned that no two of my soldiers were the same. I had to treat each one of them different, and different approaches work differently with different people. And I think if everyone can do that, I believe maybe with the help of the Almighty or whatever power you worship, we will be a better society. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So it's quite inspiring, because it's like when we think about understanding people and individuals, every single one of us is unique in the sense that we have our own set of priorities, values, a different life purpose, right? Which again is going to be formed by the things that not only supported you the most, but the things that challenge you the most, right? Like the most avid readers on the planet, I don't know if you ever talked to them, but they think they're stupid.
Yes.
So something happened to them
This year. Oh,
I know. It's like, and it's hysterical. So, and you'll talk to beautiful women and incredibly handsome men who sit there and tell you they're ugly, right? So it's the very pains that we've gone through. We truly believe these things. We have a dismemberment, a disempowerment within ourselves. We've disowned that part, right? And we have a dysmorphia around certain areas of life. The amount of pain that we've gone through have caused us to believe that, which is also driving us into what inspires us the most, right? So again, the most beautiful men and women, like they're that way because they're focusing on it for a significant quantity of time every single day, right? The time and energy that they invest in it is pretty intense, right? And it's something that maybe the normal person isn't going to do because we don't have that big of a value. Same thing with reading, education. Sometimes it's that way with our business, our finances. It could be that way with our health. It could be that way. There's so many different areas of life with your family, right? So understanding who you really are, this is going to help you to understand others as well. And the reason why is because the more that you understand yourself, the more that you're understanding the patterns and behaviors that you have that are actually helping you to display, like every person on this planet is displaying what's important to them, right? They're displaying and demonstrating it just by even the intro that we had, that you just had. I'm going to say community is important to you. Right? There's a level, of community. You've been in the army before, you've been leading in the army. It was important for you to know individuals and people who are important. In the beginning, we talked about individuals who have fallen, how to come together as a community. Already, you're demonstrating to me community is important. I'm seeing this individual, unique aspect of you just by the way you speak, the things that you do. And what's really cool is we can see that with everyone, right? And nobody's purpose is right or wrong. Like the kid who plays video games, by the way, I have clients who are in the video game industry. One of them is a centimillionaire, one of them is a decamillionaire. It's not awful to help your kids in that neighborhood. Find out what they love about it. Can you help them like build a business around it? It's one of the most successful industries in the world. So it's not even to say like it's good or bad, but it's like, what does someone love about it? And then how do we nurture what's important to them? And even it's funny because kids are a great example, and video games are so great. Because even if we think about kids going to school and you're like, I can't get my kid to stop playing video games. I did this with a kid one time. She was 11 years old. And she was having a hard time focusing on math. So all we did on the consultation is I pulled open all of these Minecraft images. She loves math and cats. And we went over all the math from her current math class. Yeah, that's involved in like Minecraft. And I was like, can you see if you learn it, you're going to get better at Minecraft, right? And she's like, yeah. And so if we don't help kids see like how basically history, math is going to help her love her Minecraft and cats, like why would she want to go to school? So this is sort of understanding people like, to help them move forward. And it doesn't just happen with kids, it happens with adults. 100%.
and speaking of math, I went to sit in my granddaughter's class one day because she was having some discipline issues, and I had to sit with her, and she was doing math on the computer. I was like, "What is this?" I had no idea what it was. She's like, "Granddaddy, you're so stupid. You just do this." I said, "What?" I said, "We just did it on paper. This is not something I'm used to." So I sat there forever watching her. Can you get me to the next level? I don't even know how you got to that level. How can I get you to? I said, "You can do this because you're obviously doing it."
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's what I mean. They grow up with it now with the either tablet, phone, and computers in school, so they're used to it. When we were growing up, that wasn't the thing until halfway through our lives, basically. And now it's everyone's thing is the handheld computer, and the phone is as powerful as the computer I'm working on now. So if you like you said, video games, kids love video games. The trip I told you I was on, I just came back from. I learned how to play an army video game. So the army does it to train soldiers via virtual battlefield simulation, and it just evolves to everything now.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's funny because it's like now, I mean, you're even giving an example. It doesn't have to just be in the video game industry. Now it's applying to so many other industries and so many other ways. It's like, what else? Like, what is your good like? What do you like, by the way? It's like, what do you enjoy? My brother, he's amazing. He's a really beautiful example. He loves video games and then he also loves imagery and design. And right now he works for a video game company and he helps do the promo materials for games that are being launched. So he's really amazing at getting things in like the perfect shot, right? It's almost like he's setting up a photograph and then he's got to screenshot it. And he's just really good at like diving into a new game and getting the hang of it. And it's fun because it's like you're looking at someone who they're doing what they love and they love what they do and they get to go to work and they get to enjoy it, right? So they get to really enjoy it. So it's like, and this goes for everyone on the planet. It's like, what do you love to do? What's inspiring to you? This is the part of getting to know yourself and who you are. And where's there a job, a career? And if there's not one, how can you make it? How can you create something like that where someone else would want to hire you because they want that product, they want that service. And we really live in a really inspiring world where we have those opportunities if we put in the time, we put in the energy, and we put in the effort. And so I think we're really lucky to have that as an opportunity. Definitely.
Yes, and watching it from, like I said, when I was growing up, there was no computers. That's how old I am. And then watching them slowly integrate into schools and slowly integrate into life, how everything changed. From it was so rigid to do stuff. Now it's pretty seamless to do almost everything we do during the day, as long as you don't get that I want to punch my computer bug during the day, or something glitches on you and your day goes to crap. But that's what we went to talk about earlier. You don't know what someone else is going through because that computer might have been the thing that really put them over the edge. And you need to bring them back and maybe get them something that is happy, maybe play Pac-Man or something.
That's awesome. This is where delegation comes in. You're a business owner or an entrepreneur. This is where you delegate to IT. You either have an IT team or you call IT. And if you don't have IT, I was just talking to a client the other day. We were laughing so hard because they're like, I am going to call IT. It's my son. And I was like, awesome. So find the person who's masterful at what you hate and basically give that job to them.
That way I can just walk away, sip my coffee while you fix whatever I just broke.
And they love it, by the way. Give it to someone they love. That's like the inspiring part about life too, is someone else loves what you hate. Like find that person.
And that's how you have that yin and yang in life. Everyone has a yang to their yang. So you do something great. You have to have someone that does something that you hate better than you do. So bring them together and everyone will be happy at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, and this is cool because you see it in team dynamics and partnership dynamics, in personal and professional as well. And when we talk about this in that relationship, we're looking at it in how to empower a team dynamic, where we go in and we see where everyone's expertise is, their specialty, and then we give them that specific job, right? And it's funny because the same thing happens in a romantic relationship, in the sense that you marry someone, you date someone that has these opposite traits and these opposite circumstances than you. But the cool thing is when you can put them together, you realize, oh my gosh, they're the perfect match, in the sense that they love doing what I don't love doing. I love doing what they don't love doing. And all of a sudden you have someone focusing on family, someone focusing on finances. Both people get what they want, both people, while supporting each other in doing what they love. So it's cool. It's cool to get to know yourself, get to know others. It really enriches your life. And it's like, it doesn't just enrich your life, it enriches the people around you,
It definitely does. And to go back to what we were talking about earlier, when you talk about the pretty woman not thinking they're pretty, the handsome man not thinking they're handsome, how do we get them to accept the change that they actually are and maybe change that narrative of their life?
Yeah, so this is a disowned part of ourselves, and we're going to talk about it in the form of physical fitness and beauty and health and stuff. But remember, this can go in any area of life, right? So, and I've done this, so I'll give you a personal example on how I've worked on this, right? So whatever we see on the outside, we have inside ourselves. That's something that we have. If you spot it, you got it. I can guarantee it, but you have it in your own form, right? And something that's more important to you than the form that you're looking at. So I remember I was working on Heidi Klum, Heidi Klum, supermodel. And I put her on a pedestal and I was like, oh, she's so beautiful. And I was looking at her body, and my perception was that her body, I was admiring the fact that it was so fit and she was so focused attention to master that part of her life, right? That's actually what I admired. I admired the focused attention to mastering her life. So the first key when you're looking at someone that you've put on a pedestal and you think they have something that you don't is getting really specific on what it is, right? Because if you're not specific, it's going to be really hard to find it in your own life. So if I just look at her abs, it's going to be hard for me to find the abs. Abs are actually important to me. It's the focus on the mastery of that part of her life. Now, if I go in my life and I look, where do I have focus on mastery to the same degree as she does in her form? And then I can see it, right? I love speaking. I love teaching. I love learning about very specific topics in regards to human behavior, business. I love people, connecting with them. And then I can look and I'm like, wow, I do have this, but I have it in my form, right? And she has it in her form based on her priorities, her life purpose. Is either better or worse? No. We're just different. So if you go and you see someone and you see them as beautiful, and by the way, let's say you do admire their abs and that is something and you're like, they have 6-pack abs. I'm going to guarantee you there's been a time in your life when you've had rock hard abs and you just forgot that you've had that before. The other component with this as well is the reason why we admire them to such a degree is because we perceive that that's a better form than what we have. So we also want to take it off a pedestal. Everything in life is a mathematical equation when it comes to our perceptions. And when we transform our mindset, it's just zeroing out that mathematical equation. So 1 + 1 = 2, 1 - 1 = 0, all that fun stuff. If I have 1,000 positives on Heidi Klum's abs, she's the topic now because she's already been using the example. She's probably used to it. If I have 1,000 positives
right now.
Yeah, she's fine. Let's say I have this many positives, right? Over how many negatives? There's no negatives in my perception on that. Well, that's not possible. Everything on this planet has both sides. Everything has a cost, right? So if I go and look, what are some of those drawbacks and disservices to her displaying that? And even when I've displayed it, only to the degree where I balance out the equation, that it's neither positive nor negative. It's just something, it's just an experience. It's just balanced. It's just a purpose. That's it. It's just someone else's priority. All of a sudden, I'm not seeking that anymore. The only reason I seek it or think I should have it or need it, and these are words to look for. If I say I should have that or need it, it's according to her based on my perceptions because I put her on a pedestal. When I see that there are some drawbacks, disservices to that to balance out the equation, all of a sudden I don't need to seek that anymore. And I just go live the life that I'm destined to. Now, this is a cool kind of transition into that language. If I'm going out and I'm saying I would love to have a 6-pack, right? If I say I love, I choose, I want to, then that's something that's truly inspiring to me. But remember the shoulds. If we're shoulding ourselves, that's not according to you. That's according to someone else, some authority, some person, one person or many that you've made an authority and you've injected that perception into your life. You've put them on a pedestal, and the second you put them on a pedestal, you put yourself in a pit and you disown that part of you.
And then all of a sudden you're comparing yourself to everything besides yourself.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, if you don't start acknowledging the person you see when you wake up in the morning, that's the person you got to compare yourself to. That person in the mirror, not when you go to a gym and you see an 18-year-old and you're 40. You want to look like that 18-year-old. That time is come and gone. You're not going to be 18 ever again unless you take some weird pill or Benjamin Button it or something. But that's not going to happen. You got to realize that you are you. You have to focus on you. I'm sure in your business, you see a lot of people that compare themselves to, say, Heidi Klum. I need to be just like her. I'm a failure. How do you get them to change that mindset?
Well, again, it's shifting our perception, right? So it's going to shift our perception. So for example, I was working with an individual and they're working on, they have a weight loss company, but they're not a skinny person, right? They're just not a skinny person. It's not who they are. It's not who they're made up to be, but they just are doing great in that business and their product works. They're not interested in being thin. It's not their culture. It's not what they're interested in. So they're like, how am I going to keep doing this? How am I going to launch it? Right. Part of it was the unrealistic expectation that they had to be the face of the company. Right. So after working with them, it's like, okay, cool. Let's get someone else who's actually going to be the face of the company. Right. So it's checking in to see, like, is that actually even necessary in my life? In this person's case, no. unrealistic expectation that they had to be the face of the company. They wound up hiring influencers instead who use their products and actually know it works, and someone who values the physical fitness part, right? So that's a helpful thing to remember. The other dynamic as well is, like, I was working with another individual who is doing a health company, and they're definitely fitter, but they fluctuate probably like 5 to 10 pounds, and it's a male, right? So you can see that that's not much, but also you would notice a little bit. And what we did is we actually went through and saw how that would actually serve their clients to actually see them fluctuate, right? And they could see that, oh, well, that would set a realistic expectation that we don't actually stay this way the whole time. And I could go out and share why I fluctuated. Like, hey, this was because of salt. Hey, this was because of something else. Hey, this was because I went out and had the burrito. And this is how I'm going to take it off, right? So they could see that that was something that they could do that would help them to be more authentic. I also did it with a dancer that expected themselves to be, again, stick thin. And when we went in with it, we're like, well, how does it serve you to have the body you have, right? As opposed to this body. And they're like, well, actually, when I'm moving, it's like sexier to have more meat on my bones, and they also want to portray to women to have a real body, to not starve, to feel comfortable in your own skin. So for them, even the message behind it, it was more beneficial for them to have more weight on themselves. So whenever we're comparing ourselves to the outside world, we're actually forgetting, again, we're like, it should be this way, but we're forgetting that it's the way it is for us, because we have a different life purpose. We have a different path. We have different priorities. So when we ask how that serves us to be the way that we are instead of the way we thought we should be, we can get those answers and be grateful for who we are. It's like you said, we wake up in the mirror and now we're like, well, I'm grateful for who I am. I don't need to change. We waste a lot of time trying to change ourselves. So much. Yeah.
My brother put in the chat that it's like the what if syndrome. So every time you say what if to everything, what if over and over and over again. So you go down a spiral that you can't get out of if you keep doing, what if I did this? What if you did it? Well, where would we be now? You wouldn't be saying it now. That's why. So you didn't do it. So let's move forward. And you have to learn to keep moving forward and do for you, make sure you're good and not compare yourself to apples. Apples and oranges don't need to be compared.
Absolutely. And even that question, it's like, well, if you were in that space, it's like, that would be a different life. So how does it serve you to have the life you have today? And when you can answer that question, you're like, I don't want the what if anymore. I can let that go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for like you had a incident with your friend's father, so you probably had a lot of shame and guilt from that, of course, because you feel like it was your fault. Probably if there's some ungodly reason it was your fault that happened. But how do we take pride in what you came out of it as? Now you took that as a challenge to be better in life, and you're doing it to help others now. How do we change? How do other people change that?
Yeah, I would love to share something with someone as well, because I know that there's some people who are going to relate with this. Where when I was a kid, I had a fantasy, an infatuation with relationships. So I actually really wanted to be in a relationship. And I remember right before it occurred, I remember being flirtatious. Right? I had no idea what was going to happen. Right. So this is my responsibility in the sense when I say, when we have an infatuation, we go out and seek that thing. That's why it's wisdom to balance our perceptions. I was doing this as a kid and it got me into extreme circumstance. It happens as an adult as well. Then when we got into the circumstance, all of a sudden I woke up and I was like, this is not what I thought it was. Right. So that's when the challenge came in. So I have my responsibility and he has his responsibility as the adult who knows better. Right. He knows better. So there's the dynamic that occurred. When I go back, I've actually gone back, just kind of like I've shared with you guys, the mathematical equation component, right? We kind of went over it on the infatuation, the pride part, the things that we admire. But now we can go through it in the sense on the things that we dislike, the things that we resent. I used to have more negatives than positives, more drawbacks than services on that particular experience. So when I go back and I see how it served me during that specific time, all the way up until today, and I balance out that equation, it becomes an event that I can be grateful for. And I said it, one of the first things I broke down into tears when I realized it is he gave me my childhood back. That was the moment that I got my childhood back, right? And I remember after that, all my friends were dating and they were everyone who is like, everyone was dating. It took me forever to start dating because I just wanted to be a kid after that. So it was one of the biggest gifts that he ever could have given me. And that's just one of the many. So when I could go back and see those gifts, then I can see how it served me. And, we attract in clients and stuff, we attract clients who have similar experiences to, what we've gone through. So I've had a lot of individuals who have gone through. And when we ask the questions too, they also see that as well. They're like, oh my gosh, I got my childhood back. And it's like, that's so cool, and then it's like, are you mad at them for it? And it's like, well, not really. No, because I got all of this stuff out of it and I wouldn't be who I am today. And I wouldn't have had these experiences in this life without that challenge. Right. So it's asking ourselves how the things that we've gone through really truly serve us, and then when we can get those answers, we become grateful and we don't wish our life was different. We don't have to hold on to anger anymore. I say this all the time: anger, resentment, frustration, it's not even affecting the other person. It impacts you. Nobody even knows it. You feel it in your body. You feel the stress. You feel that heaviness. For me, it's like, who cares what's happening with the other person? I care about you. You're in front of me. Let's get to work. So just remember that, like, this is more about you, right? This isn't about forgiveness. This is about coming to gratitude for your life experience so that you can love your life and let go of the heaviness, the burden that this, puts on your shoulders, yourself.
So that was my dog.
Mm-hmm. No, it's my dog.
Yeah. So I can't hear.
Yeah.
Yes, I see you. Thank you for sharing. That's a great story for someone to hear that has been through the kind of the same thing you went through, and maybe it'll make them flip that switch and say, and now I can start living. I don't have to hold this against my chest forever. I can let it go and maybe see the good that can come out of this and maybe live my life a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great questions to ask yourself, and everyone can do it. And it's just, it's worth it. It's about you. Again, it's all about you. Yeah. You can do more for people when you're sorted out.
Yes. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
A little bit of you sorted out to help others.
Yeah. We have so much more energy for others when we help ourselves. So to be selfless, go be selfish to the same degree. Yeah.
Yeah. Take that selfish month or whatever and come back come in full bore to be selfless at that point. Definitely.
Yeah. You get both. Both are necessary for you.
They talk about self-care. That's what it's about. Self. So, and with all your clients, can you share a triumphant story of one without using a name, just or gender or whatever, so you don't expose them, but just maybe share a story of where you found them and where they are.
Yeah. People, by the way, you guys are amazing. I love people. People are phenomenal. And individuals, when they come, it's like they have these very specific things they want, which is also so cool, by the way. Like, it's so cool to hear like what that looks like and what they want and how they want to feel, right? So a specific individual is just coming to me, and I remember when they first came, they really wanted to hit a certain percentage of income, but they wanted to do it with purpose. That was the very specific part. They wanted to wake up every day, love what they were doing, be connected to their vision, and make a specific amount of money on that, right? They're very specific about that. And I was like, okay, let's do it. If you have that goal, I'm like, there's something that you have inside you that's saying that you have that, right? So when we've been doing the work together and understanding what is truly meaningful to them and why it is meaningful, we've seen how to incorporate that into their career, into their business. And as a result, they've built a phenomenal program where they get to be the leader, the coach, the mentor, while helping others basically build their financial independence within a company. And that's what was truly inspiring to them. And they got to learn that through overcoming their past challenges of what they witnessed and experienced it with like financial ruin with their family, right? And he's like, I just want to like help families like have the finances. I want them to have a different life. And so it's really cool because it's like when you connect with that why, right? They say when the why is big enough, the how falls into place. It doesn't fall into place. The why is there. We pay attention to it. We connect with it. And then you realize all the pieces of the puzzle have been around you the whole time. You just couldn't see them before because you were disconnected from the why. And so the how doesn't fall in place. The how's always been there. Now you get to see it and now you get to work with it. Right. So it's really cool to see like how he created it and just the service that he wanted to provide. So made himself whole, and in doing that, he gets to help others as well. Yeah, it's cool.
that's outstanding. It's a great story, a
Yeah.
great thing. I can see you smiling the whole time, showing that you were proud of him and proud of you pushing him and I guess guiding him in that right direction with that compass. Got him right back on the compass the
Mhm.
right way. It's easy when they like you said have that purpose and the why behind it. When they come to you with all that, yeah. What happens when they don't come with the whole package?
He didn't know in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't know. We find it. And this
Oh,
is the fun part too. This is the part I love, by the way, is that to help you find your purpose, like I can ask you some questions, but to get the real depth, we can actually work through old traumas and challenges that you've gone through and the things that stress you out the most. And as we work through that, that gives me the quality data to understand who you are and the life purpose that you have, because you don't go through anything without it being a part of your divine unique path. And when I could see why you went through something, we start to put the puzzle pieces together of what you want, why you're here, that deeper meaning in your life. So it's really cool. To me, it's like a win-win. It's like, let's clear some stress and get to know who you are and see what your why is. It's probably why I love this process to such a degree, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a double whammy. Let's kill two birds with one stone. Go time. Yeah.
and you said it over and over tonight about being passionate about what you do. I can tell you have 100% passion in what you do, and that's great to
Oh,
see because I mean you're smiling, laughing, and happy every time you're telling the story of what people should do, and that's amazing. That's a gift everyone should have to be happy with waking up in the morning and saying I get to instead of I have to.
yes, that's our like divine right on this planet. There's no person on this planet that doesn't have the opportunity and the right to do that. And you have something inside you. And I think a beautiful thing is just to start paying attention to what brings you the most life, the most energy, like what energizes you when you do it all of a sudden. I was just talking to a client about this. Because she's going to do a talk. And I was like, when you start talking and people ask you questions, where do you just talk 100 miles a minute? Right. And you'll start to see that certain topics and certain subjects. And it's like, what truly inspires you the most? What fills you up? What do you love to spend time on, money on the most? And start to incorporate that in your day to day to a greater degree. And you'll start to see that the list of things that you do is like, I get to do this. I get to wake up and do this tomorrow. I got to do this today. So it's really crafting your life in a way that's inspiring to you. And we've talked about it in the video games, right? And if you're doing something that you love, but you're like, I can't do it at work, right? You can also find a job that provides it for you. Or like we said, it's like find or build the career around it and be the
Yes.
entrepreneur so that you can have that every day. Like that's your right. You can do that. There's no person on this planet who's more special than another. And whenever you talk to an entrepreneur, we're all going to say it. Like as we start to rise up, most of the time, we don't even know what we're doing, by the way. And we're just figuring things out along the way as we scale up. And that's why we hire consultants and coaches to help us, because we're like, I just did this and now I'm scaling up and I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, who can, yeah, who can I hire that can help? And we all judge ourselves for not knowing, but it's like, where did you think you were going to learn that? You know?
It just
Yeah.
doesn't come right in front of you. So, yeah, you
No,
got to
this
ask.
is just school of life. And we go to people
Yes,
who have gone through it to help us get through it a little bit faster.
hopefully go faster.
Yeah, hopefully with more ease. And they have the
Yes,
skills and the tools. And you're like, okay, you went through it. I got you. I want you. Okay. Thank you.
you're hired.
Exactly. Yeah. Uh,
Carly, this has been great chatting with you over the last almost 40 minutes now. But if you can give the audience 3 tips to get them to maybe change their ways during the day to make their life a little
mhm.
more pleasant and get so they can wake up with that attitude, I get to do this. What would that be?
Yeah, so definitely there's the self-awareness component so that we want to know what you truly want to do and what inspires you, right? Some of you guys will have a general idea, but check in on the things that you say, I should, I need to, I have to, I must. Those are not according to you. That's according to someone else. That's called imperative language, and we're injecting someone else as an authority. When you say, I would love to do this, I want to, choose to, desire to, those are things that are aligned with what you truly love, and start making a list of it, because what's really cool is you're going to start to see a pattern evolve. And in that pattern, you're going to see a couple things that you love to focus on the most. And you're going to realize I'm a highly predictable human being. And then predict your own life. The other thing I'd love for you to do is, as you start to learn about these things that really truly inspire you, is, I have every week, like I do it every week. Sometimes people like to do it every day, but once a week I sit down and my whole day is scheduled, right? My whole day is scheduled for every day of the week. And the reason why I do this is because I want to make sure I'm not missing out on anything that's important to me. And it's quite amazing to see that when we do that, like, I'm like, this is one of the best things I've ever done for myself. I'm like, I'm actually getting the things that I want to do done in my life with the time to do those bonus things. Because, I love my business, but I also love other things, right? So it's giving me time to do those other things as well. The other really cool thing about this is you're going to learn a great deal about yourself and your time frames and how fast you can do things and how slow. Sometimes you'll schedule something in and you'll be like, I way overestimated myself. This is going to take a lot longer, right? And that's not something to beat yourself up for. That's a reflection component where it's like, okay, cool. Now I know that this stuff takes me longer. Then you're going to do something and you're like, I gave myself a week for that. And it took me like 2 hours. Like, I totally underestimated myself, right? We either overestimate or underestimate ourselves, right? And it's not even anything to beat ourselves up over. It's a reflection point. And the last thing is just making sure when you're doing this, this is something that it's like, make it a habit, make it a lifestyle, right? So a habit and a lifestyle to a degree where every day you wake up and when you're prioritizing things that you love and that are important to you, you feel alive, you feel inspired. Those are the people that you walk up to. And I know that you guys feel this sometimes where it's like that person felt magnetic, right? We'll use the words magnetic and you're like, I was just drawn to them. I'm attracted to them. I just want to talk to them. That's because they're inspired in that moment. And so it's giving yourself permission to do that and be that because that's the energy that you're giving off. And that energy, I know you've been on the receiving end of it, it's transforming. It's like life-changing, And so then when you're talking to someone else, family, friends, if you're leading someone, if you're a business owner, wherever you are in the world, right? You can be that person who just shows up as themselves and gives other people permission to do the same. Like, it's really quite inspiring. So yeah, again, like the more that we learn about ourselves and work on our own junk, like the more we have the opportunity to serve and help others. Yeah, it really frees up that time, space, energy, brain space. Yeah, it's helpful. It's really helpful.
Yes. When you get to that junk, you have more room to help and more rooms to do other things. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Misfit Nation grasps onto at least one of them and moves forward their day tomorrow and the next day. And when this releases on audio to actually grow and become that leader they need to be. So thank you for that. Carly, how can someone get in contact with you if they want to either have you on the show or even hire you?
Yeah, they can go to my website, carlypepin.com, contact me directly, or all my fun social media stuff is on there.
All the fun social media stuff.
All the fun social media.
Website's going across the bottom now. I'm also adding it in the comments. So you can click and spam and give her all your questions tonight. Give them all tonight so she has something to wake up to tomorrow and make her day better.
That'd be fun.
Carly, thanks again for coming on, hanging out tonight, and taking some of your time and pet your dog. And I have 4 downstairs that are waiting on me. So thank you for letting them join in too. So I'm not allowed to let mine because my wife's embarrassed by them, but yours was able to join. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
And you have a good night.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.